Okay, we are back from for the second hour after the news break and everything. And one thing that I failed to comment on about the marijuana issue is that I am sure that soon there'll be a response from the medical establishment saying that, oh, the parents are lying about the condition of the girl. They are telling stories. Actually,
Just a couple of stoner hippies for parents. That's what it is.
I bet you they're going to say that too. Oh, they wanted to move to Colorado. They wanted to use marijuana. It's not that it's really helping the girl because only drugs do. Yeah, I expect to hear that. Just like, the result from the Canadian trial or mammogram, oh, they're flawed from the beginning, and we're not going to change what we do. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay. Now, something else. And this is about cancer survivors. This article is indicating that cancer survivors are sending a distress signal about their situation. And basically all the problems they have after cancer treatment, when cancer treatment is considered successful. Okay? And so the distress signal is a difficulty that they have, and the AMA is labeling them psychosocial. Some are psychological, some are social. So it's psychosocial. Let's come up with a new word. Okay. And basically what it is that people are facing all this difficulty after the cancer treatment, even after their survival, quote, and all the problems. They can't work. Many, they can't drive. They can't, so they can get around. They really don't have any strength. They don't feel good. And plus the psychological too, an ability to do things they used to be able to do, plus the maiming involved. Of course, the medical doesn't call it maiming. They call it surgery, but it is maiming. And so all these problems are easily resolved with a conversation. The doctor should talk to the patient about their investigation of this issue has resulted in statement that people didn't talk to the doctor. They didn't get any, basically what you and I will call warning of what would happen, but they call it conversation. And they were not informed enough by the doctor. They didn't talk long enough to the doctors. Okay. Now you're offering something that if it doesn't kill you, and if you manage to go on with some sort of life, the quality of life is awful. It is called life by the medical establishment. You personally might not call it life, but not an acceptable form of life, but that's what they call it. That's what you're facing after the treatment that the doctor is trying to sell you, is trying to talk you into accepting. You think he's going to tell you everything that is wrong with it? Does a used car salesman tell you what is really wrong with the car? No. You have to find out yourself. You have to get Carfax. You have to get from the VIN of the car. Just do your own footwork, your own effort to find out. And the same with what the AMA and the government do is feeding you about cancer treatment. You have to do your own research, your own footwork on cyberspace, and you have to, after that, decide, because I guarantee you that a lot of people have said no to the doctor and said, I take my chances with whatever, or even with doing nothing rather than go through this, because the outcome and the type of life offered to me is not acceptable. That's why they don't tell him. And don't tell me that is not true, because it is. I even heard a patient, it was years ago, He had cancer on his gums and in his mouth. And I told him his only choice to survive in one piece is our treatment. And he said, well, the radiologist has said they're going to do radiation and it's not a problem, and it's not true that they have to pull my teeth before the treatment. And I said, ask him, is it true that your teeth are gonna and jawbone are gonna rot after radiation? Ask him. So the guy didn't really believe me and decided to challenge the radiologist to just prove me wrong. Unfortunately, I never lied to the patient. And the radiologist, when he was faced with that question, he could not lie about it, because I guess later down the line they would have sued him if he lied. I don't know, but he actually told the truth. Yes, that's what happens. And the patient said, why didn't you tell me? Well, because you already were reluctant to have radiation therapy, so if I told you this, you wouldn't have. Okay? This is a fact. This happened in this case, and I wonder how many other cases of a patient that was knowledgeable about what happens with radiation therapy. So, yeah, I didn't tell you because otherwise you would not have agreed to the treatment. And here they're saying all it takes is conversation. It's just that a lot of patients don't have a conversation of the psychosocial effect of cancer treatment. That's what they call it. Not devastating effects of cancer treatment. No, they don't call it devastating. They say psychosocial. See? It's psychological. You have a problem. The way you look at things. Gee, I don't have my teeth anymore. I don't have gums, but I don't have jawbone. But it's the way I look at things that is a problem. And I should have talked. Can you believe this?
Just keep thinking of that footage of Roger Ebert.
What's that?
Roger Ebert. Remember his jawbone, his face. His whole face was disfigured and reconstructed.
And he had to use that mask, remember?
Yeah.
And he was married, but he could not have dinner with his wife because his wife didn't want to make him feel bad, and she still didn't want to have baby food like he did. So they were eating at separate times, so he wouldn't feel bad seeing actual food that he couldn't have. Awful. How can they do that to a person? Oh, but he's alive. It saved his life. Yeah, right. For how long? And what kind of life is that? Yep. But then, that infamous guy, that mafioso that talked to FDA, and he didn't have his voice box, and it was my fault. Not the established that removed his voice box and put him this electronic thing that it was just off. No, it was my fault. Because if he hadn't come to me, they would not have removed the voice box. Yeah, right. What about all the people and even Roger Ebert that was without a voice box and used a computer to talk and he was without a face? Did he come to me? No, he never did. So how's that? It's just unbelievable. They do horrible things to people. We know regrets. And they all cover it up by saying, well, but it saved his life, or it saved her life, or it saved... Nothing! It saved nothing!
And if there's a problem, it's always because the cancer was more virulent.
Oh, yeah, they expected it. But
new virulent strains of cancer.
Yeah. Like if they were Yes. And I have more and more things here, but there was one that I was connected with this. Oh, yeah. Not directly, but has a lot in common. And this is about, it's dated February 12th, okay? There was a study, and when was this study done? Where? Let me see if I can find the place where it was done. It was supported by the American Cancer Society. Oh, yeah. You need to have this because this is really important. It was a study of melanoma research at the John Wayne Cancer Institute in Santa Monica, California. I'd like to say something about the John Wayne Cancer Institute before I get to this particular research.
Is it a Masonic hospital?
I have no idea what it is. Oh. It's why was
John Wayne was a Mason, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was. That's why they wanted to make him president.
I don't know. It could be. It could have a part of it. It could have played a part in it.
They wanted him to run for president, and he laughed at them and said, "Who's going to vote for an actor?"
Oh well, they did. They did.
So they picked a bad actor that agreed to anything because he was a starving actor. Yeah. That was the comment of John Wayne. I never liked John Wayne, but I really admired him for that statement. He left a lot of money, and that's why they named after him, John Wayne Cancer Institute in Santa Monica, California. Well, if anybody remember going to our website, Les Med Inc., that is no more, but the website is there because the people should know what Les Med Inc. was doing, in spite of all the ridiculous accusation. Okay, there is a button that you click on, melanoma, and there is one very simple case of a physician in Arkansas, but also there is that awful one, this guy in California, there was the entire leg invaded, it was a disaster. It was melanoma, and he got to that bad shape doing everything that the establishment was offering, every single thing, even experimental thing, like heating the blood.
You're talking about that very first video that you ever put up on YouTube, right?
Right. And that guy went to everything, even something that is not really approved, but they used it in extreme cases, which is blood infusion. You take out the blood, heat it up, and put it back in to the body, warm blood, which causes heart attack. And he had it, but they caught it. She had a nurse watching over him after the treatment, and they know that a heart attack occurs. He had it, and they fortunately caught it on time and saved him. Okay. He wanted to go there to the John Wayne Cancer Institute. He wanted to go there for his case. And of course, the Cancer Institute that is doing research and it's got all that money from John Wayne said no. His case was too advanced. They couldn't do anything for him. Okay? That's why he came to us. Okay. Yeah. But this Cancer Institute did research and it's discovered, this was published February 4th, and discovered new thing, that testing the lymph node, key lymph node near the site, you can determine if it has spread, and it helps treating the patient, improving survival for people that have the lymph nodes affected. Now, this is forgetting, of course, that if you do surgery, immediately after surgery, you do affect the lymph nodes. And you also have blood spilling and spreading the cancer. But no, it is the lymph nodes. And if you discover that if you go in, and by the way the medical establishment works, they do not biopsy the lymph node before removing it from the body. They first remove it from the body, excise the lymph node, and then they test it, biopsy. Because the statement is that they cannot insert a needle in a lymph node. It's not possible, so you have to remove it.
Really?
Really? Yeah, that's my question. Really, it's not possible to inject a lymph node? I've been doing it for 14 years. Well, I did it for
What reason did they give?
No reason. They said that you can't do it because I guess it floats, okay? Because the lymph nodes float. Well, how can you remove it then if it's float? Okay, but they said you can remove it, but you cannot biopsy before you remove it. And they said that in certain cases of cancer of intermediate melanoma of intermediate thickness, the lymph node were removed after the sentinel node biopsy tested for positive. Basically, what they did is remove the sentinel node, which is the node closest to the site, and then they test that biopsy, decided that it was cancer, and then they remove others, which is something that they have been doing for years and years. So how come this research at the John Wayne Institute, justifying all the money they have from John Wayne, how come that was a new trial? That was a new testing? Because they didn't do it to cancer before, and now they are. They're saying that they have been using it for breast cancer. But they did it for melanoma. Now, I already told you many times before, but because the way melanoma is, that's why they call it the most deadly. Because melanoma, all cancer have these branches like an octopus, but the ones of melanoma are a lot longer than normal. Okay, they can be a lot longer and spread out a lot further. So that's why melanoma, you excise the area where the cancer is with clean margin. And I have another article that approaches the clean margin thing. I'll discuss it later. But I wanted to discuss this first because that goes back to the other nonsense they are talking about. Okay? So what they did is do something that has been done for breast cancer for the longest time. And new thing now, new research at John Wayne Institute. If they do this, remove the lymph node, the sentinel lymph node, and then test it, biopsy it, and see if it's positive, if it contains live cancer cells in it, then you need to go back and remove more lymph nodes. That way, and when they do that, the chances of survival are a lot greater compared to people that did not have that procedure done. Now, the comment of American Cancer Society is that lymph nodes, their explanation is, are small structures that work as filter to harmful substances in the body. Now, basically, the lymphatic system does that. You have nodes that connect the different sections, but it's the lymphatic system that does that. They don't explain this, but if you remove lymph nodes, you break the connection. So your body doesn't drain properly all the toxin, and they spill into the tissue. So what happens? You can get more cancer spilling into the tissue. And of course, by doing surgery, you have bleeding, and that spreads the cancer too. And melanoma is really very easy to spread. So doing all of this is the wrong thing to do. But they have all these years of research they made, because this, in their statistics, in their result of trial, by doing that procedure, which is all this longest time, particularly for breast cancer, they say that improves the survival rate. Okay? That's why it's justified to do that, because it improves the survival rate. No, it doesn't. And melanoma is the easiest thing. And look, in this article, there is a picture of melanoma growth that is not any worse than the one shown on our website. Not the advanced horrible case, and you can see that drying up and getting better anyway. but the one on the arm, and that was, I told you, an MD, actually was a retired anesthesiologist in Arkansas. Okay? If you look at that, look what happened. It was really dark, and the picture here is not as dark. That was a really dark melanoma. We treated it, and because it had just shown up, it disappeared just as fast. And instead here, they're ready to do all the things they want to do to the guy to improve survival. Okay? Right. And this goes on and on and on. And what gets me is all this money that they waste with something that is already done, is recognized as great. Actually, in fact, now they're really reducing the removal of lymph nodes because they know it doesn't help anything and it actually causes problems. But this is the results of the research of the big named John Wayne Cancer Institute.
30 seconds, by the way.
All right. Oh, gee. Okay. And then, of course, I had another article that was connected with treating breast cancer, okay? And that goes back into the lymph nodes and how to treat the lymph nodes and how to handle that problem. And it's all a vicious circle because everything they do and any research they do, if it doesn't say what they want to hear, they say that was flawed. But when it says what it's already known and it was already being done, then it's a great trial that confirms, see, it's great what we do.
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
At Orion News Talk, we know times are bad. Ever since 9/11, a battle has been waging against we the people. Our Constitution is under attack. A clandestine war has been launched against this country and the world. The Federal Reserve Cartel has bankrupted our nation and destroyed our economy. Our executive, legislative, and judicial branches have been turned against us. But the Declaration of Independence gives us the right to alter and abolish bad government. Our leaders and our law enforcement are supposed to uphold and protect our Constitution and to fight all enemies, foreign and domestic. They're not. So we ask you to join us to accept that vow. As we stand together against the New World Order, we will not allow our country and our freedom to be taken. And to the powers that be, we say this: we will win this fight. We will defeat you. So keep listening and tell a friend, because this battle is far from over. Orion News Talk, news and views beyond the mainstream media.
Okay, we are back from the break, and we are in the infamous fourth section. Again, if anybody heard the fourth section last week, I didn't, and I was listening to find out if everything was okay. I didn't hear the fourth section. If anybody happened to hear the silence and not hear the fourth section, please let us know. Send us an email and let us know. And I really need to break down and figure out what the heck is going on. I know I'm being sabotaged from, who knows, different sources. I know that because even though I don't have a large audience, I don't know that the audience goes beyond a handful of listeners. But
half the people listening are probably your enemies anyway, right?
Yeah. But still, there are people that want me to be shut down. So not just the business, but even the radio show, which I don't make any money. I don't make anything, and I work hard to bring you information that's out there. So it's just my effort to help. Anyway, so now let's see if the fourth segment of this week is going to go through, and if you are going to hear. I'll check out on Saturday, but if all four segments are going to be heard. But, you never know what other thing they come up with. Okay. So we talk about all the nonsense, ignoring the test results. We talked about psychosocial effect, distress calls because of all the problems they have, and the problems they have are also gone over with the melanoma. Well, they don't say there is a problem by removing all these nodes, but This other article that I'm going to discuss actually says it. But it starts with the title, New Guideline on Lumpectomy Margin. And if we're following the new guideline, should reduce re-excision. Which means that a lot of cases, they do a second surgery after lumpectomy or mastectomy or whatever. They go in again. And usually it's because to remove, if it's lumpectomy, to remove more tissue in the area, but if it isn't lumpectomy, then to remove more lymph nodes. See, that's the thing. And the interesting thing is that I read through this entire article, also dated February 11th. I don't know when the statement, it was published. Oh, actually, it will be published. This article will be published. Hasn't been published yet, but will appear in the International Journal of Radiation Oncology. Okay? And why radiation oncology when they're talking about excision? I have no idea. Okay? Because excision is surgery. It's not radiology. But anyway. So basically, the thing that gets me is they're going on and on, blah, 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 blah. Do they say what the new guideline on lumpectomy are? No. Only the advantage, because it reduces additional surgery, but it doesn't tell you what they are, okay? And I know why. They probably indicated to take out more tissue that they are already doing, that are already removing, and to be safer and not do a second surgery. That's implied throughout the entire article, but it's not openly mentioned. It goes on and on how it's a problem, do surgery again, excision, additional excision. Okay, they're only going over the fact that it's more expensive, it's troublesome to the patient, and it's more expensive, and it causes, not only discomfort because you're going over surgery in an area that's already had recent surgery, so that's not good, but also because of the discomfort of additional surgery, the discomfort of additional expenses, and everything slowed down over the healing and all of that. So this is great. And when you go back and have a second surgery, it's bad because I bet you can guess why. Any guess why it's bad? It's bad because it delays additional treatment, like chemotherapy or radiation, or both, and affect the cause of psychological effect on the patient. So that's why it's bad, because it delays the chemotherapy and the radiation. That's the main reason it's bad. Okay. And also hormone therapy if they go for that. Okay. Okay. So, what also does that mean? They go back in and they do, as I said, they don't mention how you should change the way you take margin, the clean margin, and how much the clean margin should be now. They only call it ideal margin width. No comment of how much more of your tissue you're going to take to make it ideal. Okay? There is no indication. But what they're talking about also is the additional lymph node removed. Okay? The lymph node removal. See, and here they give you all sorts of, these are the guideline in what you should do. But nothing tells you what the changes are. Nothing at all. But I thought it was on this article that said something about the lymph nodes. Let me see if I'm confusing it with another article. Oh, it should have been this one. Now, lung cancer screening, so it should have been No. One thing that I read about is the fact that going for this ideal margin and the removal of lymph node, okay? They said, yes, the removal of lymph nodes causes problem because you develop lymphedema. And with the lymphedema, you have, well, you know, you have to do massage and sleeve, and it's very uncomfortable in something that in most cases is for the rest of your life. But they said, you are alive, extend your life, so it's okay, it's good. Even though removing the lymph nodes causes a serious problem, well, what about infection? Because the lymphatic system controls infection and eliminate toxin. Okay, controls infection. You are eliminating the lymph nodes, so there are no connection in the lymphatic system, which means what? Which means that you go to your pipe system in your house, the water pipe system, you go in and for whatever reason, or a random, you remove YouTube connection. Okay? What's going to happen? The water spills everywhere. Okay? That's the same thing. The lymphatic liquid spills everywhere, and so you're not protected from infections. And it just doesn't work. Not only doesn't work, your tissue swells up with like clogged lymph node or absent lymph nodes. That's why you have to have some kind of massage, lymphatic massage, and that's why you have to have a sleeve. But they won't give you any of that until they have butchered and poisoned you, because if you do not have, or burnt you with the radiation, because they said the cancer has to be dead. Otherwise, if they do massaging and if they do use the sleeve to help draining, then it can spread the cancer. Oh, because removing the lymph node does not? Oh, no, it doesn't, because the cancer is stuck in the lymph node. And so the cancer cells are stuck in the lymph node. I removed those. I removed the cancer. Really? And what about the others that are going through the system? That's a continuous drainage thing. So there'll be more live cancer going through there. And then there are more formed, and they go directly into the tissue, not in the lymph node. The idea is that you have to treat the lymph node and kill the cancer in the lymph node without removing or damaging the lymph node. So the lymph node can eliminate dead cancer tissue and continue on like nothing happened. That's what we were doing. But of course, we were not allowed to continue. Just like the results of the Canadian research group is invalid. And just like they are not going to change what they're doing right now, because what they do is the right thing. Any change, any natural process, and any marijuana will not apply, whatever your malady is, okay? Nothing natural. Or like any weed that you cook and use as a poultice on a burn to help him heal faster. No, that's not allowed, because it's not sterilized. Well, but if you sterilize it, it kills the active ingredient. Well, you have to sterilize. So it's working. Yeah. And the same with the red rice yeast. Oh, the active ingredient is toxic, so you have to remove it. Okay, I remove the active ingredient, then what? It doesn't do anything. That's right. It doesn't do anything because you have to take Crestor. How else the drug company gets $5.2 billion in a year? Huh? If you use red rice yeast? No. It's not permitted. See what is going on here? Please keep an eye and do research. When a doctor tells you need this drug, say, well, let me do some research on it. He won't tell you. He'll tell you, oh, no, this is safe. Oh, and it won't affect you. Whatever side effects are, they don't apply to you. Go online and check. I mean, there are people, I don't know if you use Amazon. I do because I live on Mars and I have to. They deliver on Mars. And I have to use Amazon for anything I need, almost. Well, one neat feature they have is that it's annoying to write review. I mean, sometimes you don't have time, you're in a hurry, and there's things that I ask you, so you have to answer their question on the product. I mean, answer the question whether it arrived on time is easy, but answer the question of the product require a little bit more effort. But it's good because other people that consider buying that product can hear from others what happened. Because, yeah, you see a picture, you have a description, but you really don't know all the details. But somebody that bought it can tell you. And I get emails all the time, people asking me. And it's good. They should know. And they do investigation on that. And they ask and they send questions to people that have bought it before. Well, why not you do the same for something as important as drugs? I grant you the name of people that took that drug and not available because the medical establishment is trying to make him secret with the excuse of privacy. You know, people are... they are protected by Privacy Act, so they cannot be. But, you know, you need to talk to other people, and if you can't, directly go online and see what they say. And you can tell when it's something biased or when it's not. I mean, you balance it out. In the majority of cases, it will be against it, biased against it, and it's usually by member of the medical establishment. But at least you have some directive, and you have some information that the doctor is not going to give you. Do that for something as important as your health. I think it needs to be done. And some help is out there. And other than that, I'll go to the archive, listen to our show, see if I talked about that particular drug. And I'm not pushing the show, but this is the purpose. That's why I'm working so hard at it. I'm doing all this research, and I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to help you because you cannot depend on FDA. Get this article, okay? Just to give another example, okay? Get this article. This drug has generic chemical name of abrutinib. Abrutinib?
Crazy names.
I know. But the name given to the drug by the drug company is supposed to usually be easier. But in this case, it's Imbruvica. Is that easier than abrutinib?
I don't know. I never have understood that, and I never will.
Okay. And what happened is made by the company Pharmacy Clicks. Okay. Imbruvica, who knows, is made by the company called Pharmacy Clicks. Okay. And get this drug is obtained an accelerated approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Accelerated approval. Why?
I hear money.
Yeah, because, that FDA got, and your money is going to cost to the public because the company has to retrieve that loss. Okay. And this drug is for use on chronic lymphocytic leukemia. For patients that have received at least one previous therapy. You cannot come off the street and get this. You have to have some previous therapy from the standard, and then you can have this one. Okay? You can have these drugs. Okay, do you know what accelerate? And the reason for accelerated approval is because rarely official statement is that rarely does a drug come along with so much potential to help CLL patient. And CLL stands, as I said, for chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Okay, rarely something that good comes across. And this is an oral drug. And is against the intravenous drug of, like, you're going to enjoy this name. What is used now is ofatumumab.
Oh, boy. All these MIBs and MABs.
But the brand name is Arzera. That's a little easier, I guess. Doesn't mean anything, but... And who makes it? Glasgow Smith & Kline. Okay, and that came out in 2009. So it gave him 5 years. The FDA gave him 5 years to be the only one. And now they approved ibrutinib. It's a nib one. It's not a mumab.
Nibs and MIBs and MABs and...
Ridiculous. Okay, so do you know what the accelerated approval is? They do it very quickly, and so they cut on negative side effects and the long-term side effects. They haven't the foggiest idea what they are, okay? But, it is so good that FDA immediately approved. I tried to look at the possible side effects. Okay, that they know so far. That doesn't mean that they're the only one. That's the one that they have noticed during this accelerated testing and accelerated approval. Basically, the accelerated approval, what it does is stops, because this is considered an orphan drugs. It's for a disease. There aren't that many drugs, so it's called orphan drugs. And FDA approves them quickly. Basically, without any evidence whether they really do a good job and whether they are safe. But so far, what they have discovered is that this drug produces, this is good, thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia. You have to read it in, break it down. And do you know what that is?
No idea.
Well, that's why they use this name, so ordinary people won't know. Okay, what it does is it lowers the blood clotting ability. So reduces the platelet responsible for blood clotting. Okay? So it gives you a disease. Okay? Yeah. Then it produces bruising, which means that blood is bleeding. Okay. And it gives you anemia. And it gives you, oh no, wait a minute. Let me step back. It can. The adverse side effect, that could happen. No, they happen, but they say it could. And the other one is neutropenia. And neutropenia, do you know what it is?
No.
It's the abnormally low count of neutrophils. And neutrophils are basically 50 to 70% of the circulating white blood cells. And they're responsible for controlling infections. Okay? And those are the ones so far, I would say they're pretty bad, but they are the ones so far.
1 minute, by the way.
Okay. But there are other nausea, stomach problem, sinus problem, dizziness. There are a bunch of other, but, okay? But this, which doesn't look good so far, received accelerated approval like an orphan drug because there are many others, and it's important that it's out there to help the people. So you can die of infection and you can bleed to death, and like you were an hemophiliac, and it turns you into an hemophiliac. All these good things. Okay, I hope we are just about out of time, and I hope you heard this section, and I hope everything is okay about the show today. And possibly, hopefully, we'll be back next Saturday. If no problem occurs this week, we'll see what happens, okay? Have a good week, and